Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone. How are you? I'm Jana Ahmed Abdul and today we'll talk about maths. Actually today we'll talk about addition and subtraction of radicals. How to subtract and how to add radicals together. If it's 3 or 4 radicals together. Now I bring some questions and some examples to simplify the radicals if it's subtraction or addition. The first question says that radical 2 plus radical 8. Now what we have here, radical 2 plus radical 8. We know that both of them are non-perfect square, so that means we make radical 8 non-perfect and perfect square. That means what we have here, we have 2 and 4, because 4 times 2 is equal to 8. Now, the perfect square here is 4, that means the square root of 4 is 2. Now, what we have, we'll make radical 2 plus 2 radical 2. Of course, now we have that here, if there is no number between or behind the radical, it will be always 1. Okay, so that means we have here 1. Now, what is the common factor between them is radical 2. That means we'll make radical 2 bracket, that means times 1 plus 2. Now, what we have, radical 2 times in bracket 3. Now then we'll times radical 2 by 3. The final answer it will be 3 radical 2. Okay, we know that also if it's like that it can be also the final answer, and here it can be the final answer because AB is equal to BA is the same like that. Okay, so now let us continue to the second question. The first question done. Now let us go to the second question. The second question it says 5 radical 2 plus 7 radical 2. Now we have the common factor already. It's radical 2. That means we have what? 5 radical 2 plus 7 radical 2. Now after that what we have? The common factor is radical 2 radical 2. That means radical 2 times 7 plus 5. Radical 2 is the common factor times 7 plus 5. Then what we have? Radical 2 in bracket or times 12. That means it can be this final answer or it can be 12 radical 2. Okay, so that means the second question also done. Now let us go to the third question. Third question, it look like 3 or 4 radicals. It have times and also addition and subtraction all in one question. That means what we have here, 3 radical 12 minus radical 3 plus 2 radical 1 over 3 plus 1 over 9 radical 27. So this is the question number 3. Now, of course, we know that we don't have any common factor because here it's radical 12, here radical 3, radical 1 over 3, and radical 27. So let us simplify and to bring a common factor to let all of them plus an addition, addition and subtraction together in one bracket. Now, what is the perfect and non-perfect of 12? We can make by the easy way. Here by 12 and here by 3. Here by 3 it will be by 4, by 2, by 2, by 2, by 1. So that means we have 2, 2. That means the square root of 4 is 2. So what we have here, 4 times 3, the square root of 4 is 2. That means 2, we will make it out. Then 3 times 2, radical 3. Now after that, because of 3 times 2 is equal to 6 radical 3. That means we're done and we finish this part. Now let us go to the second part. That means minus radical 3. Actually, minus radical 3, it can be perfect or non-perfect because it's already non-perfect. We can't do anything for it. That means it's an irrational number. Okay. Now we will go to the 2 radical 1 over 3. We'll make here times 3 and here plus 1 over 9. That means it will be 2 radical 3 over 9, and it can be also 2 the radical of 3 over radical of 9. Okay, and then what is the perfect and perfect of 27? Here we can make by the easy way by 27 here by 3. So that means by 9 by 3 by 3 by 3 by 1. So what we have, we'll take only the 3. That means the square root of 9 is 3. That means here it will be by 9 and here it will be by 3. The square root of 9, it is 3. So what we will have, we will have 1 over 9 times 3 because we take 3 out. So that means 1 over 9 times 3 radical 3. That 3 is inside. Now what we have here, 1 over 9 times 3 radical 3. We'll cut 3 by 9, that means by 1, and here by 3. That means we have 1 over 3. After that, let us put in a full step to solve the third step. Now, as we said that here it will be 6 radical 3. 6 radical 3, and here it will be the same. Negative radical 3 plus what we have here, of course, after we will multiply, it will be 2 over 3. Then plus what we have here, 1 over 3. What we have here also, it will be radical 3. Now, we have a common factor between all this question. That means the common factor, it is radical 3. Radical 3, radical 3, and radical 3. Okay? So that means what we have here, radical 3. Okay, and here also radical 3. That means radical 3 in bracket, all of them. That means we take first 6 minus 1 plus 2 over 3 plus 1 over 3 and close the bracket. Now simplify, that's inside the bracket. That means it will be 6 minus 1, 5 plus here we know that the common here the denominator is same. That means 2 plus 1, it will be 2 plus 1 over 3. It will be 3 over 3. That means 5 plus 3 over 3. And we know that 3 over 3 is equal to 1. So that means 5 plus 1 is equal to 6. That means radical 3 times 6 in bracket. Or it can be the final answer 6 radical 3. Because we know that AB is the same like BA. So this is the final answer for question number 3. Question number 3 also, we finish it. Now question number 4, the same thing like and the same way that we solved question number 3. Okay. Now we have 8 radical 24 plus 2 over 3 radical 54 minus 2 radical 96. Now here we don't have any common factor between these numbers. That means radical 24 we make it perfect and imperfect square, the same to 54 and radical 96. That means we'll do the easy way for radicals. That means 24 here by 2 by 12 by 2 by 6 by 2 by 3 by 3 by 1. Now we have only 1 2. That means we'll take only 1 2 and 2 and 3. That means 6. We'll left it inside the radical. That means it will be 2 will go out for 8, and 8 times 2 is equal to 16. Now what we have, 16 radical 6. Okay, and what we have here, 2 over 3 radical 54. Let us see the easy way for radical 54, or the perfect and non-perfect square for radical 54. Now what we have, 54 we make by 2, here by 2, by 1, b by 7, by 3, by 9, by 3, by 3, by 3, by 1. Now what we have, 2 3, that means it will be 1 3. Now we'll make what, plus 2 over 3 times 3 radical 6. Okay, so that means we'll cut 3 by 3. We'll cut 3 by 3. Now what we have? 16 radical 6 plus 2 radical 6. Okay, now what's left? Negative 2 radical 96. That means if we solve 96 here, 96 here by 2, or come by 3 also. It's come by 3. That means here by 3 and here by 2. Then by 2. That means will give us 16 by 2 by 8 by 2 by 4 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 1. Now what we have here? 2 and here we have 2. That means what's left? 2 and 3. That means when you multiply it will be 6. That means what? Negative 2 times what? What we get out? 2 and 2 here and here. So that means it will be times 2 times 2, it will be 4. Now 2 times 4 radical 6. After that what we have, the common factor is radical 6. Now we will put all of the numbers that's behind the radical in one bracket and we'll make the common factor outside the bracket. That means radical 6 in bracket 6 plus 2 negative 2 times 4, we know that's 8, negative 8. Okay, so now what we have? 6 plus 2, of course 8, the negative 8, it will be nothing, so the final answer will be only radical 6. So this was the final answer for question number 4, and question number 4 also done. Now that was about what addition and subtraction of radicals. Now we have another radicals to solve it, like the denseting radicals. How to simplify it? There is 2 rules or 3 rules for that thing. Let us know that, and we will simplify 2 or 3 questions and examples of this question. Let us to go for the next topic. Now let us continue the another topic, that it is denseting radicals. Actually there is some formulas and some rules to do it by these rules. That means the first one is a plus b squared or a minus b squared. We know that a plus b squared, that means a plus b times a plus b. That we will get a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. This is the first rule. The second rule, that's a minus b squared. It will be a squared minus what? 2ab plus b squared. Okay, so this is the main 2 rules, and we will use these rules to solve the denseting radicals. Okay, so now let us go for the first example by these rules. The first example says radical 7 plus radical 24, okay, over 2. Of course here, yeah, up to here, plus what? Radical 7 minus radical 24 over 2. Okay, now what we have? Both of them have the same denominator, so we'll make a plus b squared. That means a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Okay, so that means here that 7 plus 2 radical 24 in the whole of the radical over 2, it is a, and here this part it is b. Now we want to make a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So what we will do first, we'll make radical 7 plus radical 24 over 2 plus what? Radical 7 minus radical 24 over 2. We make it squared, okay, because it's equal to x. That means when we multiply x, like it will be x squared, here also we make it squared. That means we cut 2 by 2 here by the radical. So what we will have? 7 plus radical 24 over 2 plus 7 minus radical 24 over 2. Okay, so now what we will do, we know that here 24 it can be perfect and non-perfect. That means it will be 2 radical 6, because if you make by the easy way here 24 by 2 by 12 by 2 by 6, then by 2 by 3 by 3 by 1, so we'll take only 2, then we make 2 times 3 to be 6. That means 2 will go out from the radical and 6 will be inside the radical. That means 2 radical 6. Now what we will have, we have also the same denominator, so that means 7 plus what, 2 radical 6 over 2 minus, plus 7 minus 2 radical 6. Now we'll cut radical 2 by 6 and radical 2 by 6. That means what we'll get, or you can make that 7 plus 2 radical 6, it seems like radical 6 plus 1, and here radical 6 minus 1. Yes, so that means here from the up, radical 6 plus 1, then plus radical 6 minus 1 over 2. Yes, after that what we have, radical 6 is the same, but plus 1 and next 1 will cut the both, and we have here still 1, so that means it will be 2 radical 6 over 2. We'll cut 2 by 2, then the final answer will be radical 6. This is the final answer for this question, for the first question. Okay, now let us go to the second question. Now the second question is the same like the first question, but without any fractions. That's what we have here. Radical 5 plus 2 radical 6. Okay, minus what we have here, minus radical 5 minus 2 radical 6. Okay, now which rule we use it? We use a minus b squared. That means a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. Okay, we'll use this rule in this question. But first, let us solve this question. So now what we have, 5 radical 2 over 6. We make that radical 5 plus 2 radical 6 minus radical 5 minus 2 radical 6 is equal to x. Okay, is equal to x. So that means we make x squared and we make also this part squared. So that means by 2 here by radical and here by radical. So what we will have, 5 plus 2 radical 6, 5 plus 2 radical 6. What we have again? Minus what? It will be a times b. So that means 5, that means minus 2, because we know that it will be minus 2ab, yeah? So that means what? Negative 2. Here we bring a, that means radical, without radical it will be already, first, that means 5 plus 2 radical 6, yeah? After that times what? 5 minus 2 radical 6. And then we have what? The b squared plus. We make here plus. What we have b? 5 minus 2 radical 6. 5 minus 2 radical 6. Okay? So now if you can see, we make here first, here we know that 2 radical 6 here positive, and here what we have negative. So we'll cut 2 radical 6 by 2 radical 6. After that, what's left? 5, and here 5. 4 plus 5, 10. So that means what? 10 minus 2. Here we want to multiply the both radicals together. That means, of course, after we cancel the radical, the big radical, we have 5 plus 2 radical 6, and here 5 minus 2 radical 6. Now 5 times 5 is equal to 25. Okay, is equal to 25, and 2 times 2 is equal to 4. But of course, don't forget that positive times negative, negative, and 2 times 2, 4. But what we have also, radical 6 times radical 6 is equal to what? 6. How radical 6 times radical 6 give us 6? Because if it's in bracket radical 6 squared, we got 2 by square, and then what we left? 6 alone. That means 4 times 6. So in bracket we have 25 minus 24. Okay, so now what we do here? 2 in bracket 25 minus 24. After that, of course, it's equal to x squared. After that, 25 minus 24 is equal to 1, and 10 minus 2 in bracket 1 is equal to x squared. We'll make 2 times 1 is equal to 2. That means 10 minus 2 is equal to 8. After that, we will get 8 is equal to x squared. Of course, we'll not finish up to here because if you can see up here, it will be the final answer we get 8 is equal to x squared. We multiply the both sides here by radical 2 by radical and radical 8. It can be simplified to 2 radical 8. So the final answer is equal to 2 radical 2. So this is the final answer for the second question. That means the first and the second question have done. Now let us go to the third question. Third question doesn't have any numbers, but only only have variables. And the final answer for this question, it will be a number. How? Let us simplify it together. Now it says radical b squared plus 1 minus radical b squared minus 1 times radical b squared minus 1 plus radical b squared plus 1. Okay, so what we do here? We have what here? Radical b squared plus 1. Okay, minus radical b squared minus 1. Okay, close the bracket. Then open the bracket, that means times radical b squared minus 1 plus radical b squared plus 1. So here it's have another rule, that means ab squared, okay, or a minus b squared is equal to a squared minus b squared. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so now what will we do? We'll make a and b. That means if you times radical b squared plus 1 by this, it will take time, but when you times radical b squared plus 1 by radical b squared minus 1 and by radical b squared plus 1. Again, radical b squared minus 1, it will be by this one, and here by this one. That means we have only 2 times. That means a squared plus b squared. What we have here? Radical b squared plus 1 squared. Okay? Then negative, what we have here? Radical b squared minus 1, then close the bracket, squared. Okay, so we'll cut 2 by the big radical, 2 by the big radical. Then what we have? B squared plus 1, negative b squared plus 1. Why I write plus here? Because negative times negative is equal to positive. Okay, negative times negative is equal to positive. That means plus 1. Now we'll cut b squared by the here b squared because here positive and here negative. So that means they are 0. Now, plus 1 and plus 1. 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. The final answer for this question is 2. So if you see here that all of them are variables except one in each radical, and the last answer is 2. So that was about the denseting radicals and about addition and subtraction of radicals for 2 or 3 radicals together. I hope that you benefit from this video and you know how to solve radicals by different ways. Thank you for listening and thank you for watching.